It is the late Vuyo Mokoena with the Alpha and Omega right here on Keith and Gessie Radio. Before that, I played you Hillsong with the Majesty. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. I did mention we're halfway through the week. And of course, that means hashtag Ask Lwanda, who's in studio this morning. A very good morning to you, Lwanda.
Morning, Lwazi. Kunjani?
Mpili Lunjan.
Good morning to the listeners as well. Mm-hmm. Thank you for having me.
It's only a pleasure. So before we even get into what are we talking about today, I think we all know what is Emateni and what everyone seems to be talking about with the tragedy that took place early hours of Sunday morning at a local tavern here in East London.
Yeah.
Ukuthi Mhlambe, coming from a pharmaceutical background, what are your thoughts and views?
I've said that, I'm not convinced, or rather I'm not interested much in what's going on, the speculations and that sort of thing. Mm-hmm. I think there are very scientific methods, basic scientific methods that can be applied to give us answers and explanations as a community and to the parents. So we've got a forensics department that works closely with the police that will say, okay, if you were raped, there's going to be something called a rape kit. They will collect and then test samples and then do a DNA, and they'll see, does this semen belong to the person that that
raped you?
Yeah, claiming raped. Or if they're investigating and they find someone, then they will check that person's DNA if it links to the DNA that was found. Those sort of things. You know, we want to look under the woman's fingernails if she's saying that she scratched this person and that sort of thing. So here we could do urine samples, we could do blood samples. We could do swabs, right? Because if we're saying there was a gas and these people breathed it in, is it in their blood system? Can we find any traces on their nostrils or the back of their throat?
Okay.
Those kind of things, were they taking illicit drugs? And you can have those questions answered by science. And then you come back and you say, okay, we've definitely found alcohol. And then we've found this and that drug with 5 kids and we didn't find it with the other. And
the
that
other
sort of,
ones,
and then there's this one thing that we found that is a common denominator with all of them. And this is the level that it was in their bodies and done.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Just listening to you talking, I actually didn't think of that with gas, that there would need to be blood or whatnot. You can't, because I actually read an article yesterday, I think it was on News 24, and it says there were no signs of struggle, firstly. Some of them still had food in their mouths, and some were still smiling, which, I'm not a medical person or pharmaceutical for that matter, but I think that also leaves one with a question mark, that it's as if it just happened suddenly with no detection of that anything could happen.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So all of that would matter in forensics. They do that when they do an autopsy. To check,
okay.
Right? This is what we found in this person's mouth. This is what we found in this person's stomach.
Yes.
So you do report on the visual, on the things that you can definitely see. I saw trauma, there's bruising, and then this gives evidence to the whole stampede narrative.
Yes, like that.
Yeah, or there was no bruising. There was nothing on this person's body. There's no stab. There's no gun wound. Forensics is there for that.
Okay, well, we'll wait for them. And
I think even with the COVID, right, what started happening is we found that now everyone wanted to be an expert and not allowing the experts to do the reporting.
Yeah, very true.
I don't want... Yes, there's a person who says, yes, I survived, this is what happened. But what I would really, really, really like to hear is the opinion from the forensics department or the police to say, we have a forensics report that is saying there was a car accident here, this car we are estimating was traveling at this distance, and based on this and that, we can tell that it was traveling from east to west. All of that. You want an expert to give you that kind of information.
Yeah, hey, but as a society, as you're saying, just like COVID, there are voice notes now speculating, and we are all experts now. We all know what went down, and we all know it wasn't a stampede, it wasn't a tear gas, it wasn't any of that. So, Lwanda, please tell me, what are we speaking about today on hashtag Ask Lwanda?
Today we are speaking about drug abuse or substance abuse.
Yes.
Especially in adolescents.
Yes. Okay. Just to speak, maybe randomly, we all know South Africa does have a drug problem, but is it a common one with our youth? Because I believe drugs cost money, and the young ones don't have that much money, or do they resort to other methods?
And Lwazi, I don't know how expensive they are.
Yes, okay.
And also what happens is, in a group of friends, it's not that you all don't have money. You might find that ukhona that has access to a rich aunt, a rich malume, and is the one that then buys for everyone else. You could be giving your kids money for school, and then they don't eat at school. They use that money to buy drugs or or alcohol. So what we want to talk about, I was making an example with something called a threshold. A threshold means a lower limit, right?
Okay.
So in medicine, if you are taking a particular medicine, I wanted to reach a particular level in your bloodstream. If I gave you 100 milligram of paracetamol, it won't have a therapeutic effect. I'll give it to you, but then it won't solve your pain problems. I need to give you a minimum of 1,000 milligram. That 1,000 milligram will reach that threshold and go above it and then have an effect. Unless it reaches that threshold, it won't have the effect. Are you with me?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah?
Okay, yeah.
So in medicine, we know this, and we can say, okay, at this dose, this is what this medicine is going to do.
Yes.
I think that there is a threshold in society. There's a number of times that you are allowed to drink and drive.
Yes, yeah.
And not get into an accident and not be arrested by the police.
Yeah.
So it's as though the universe allows you so many chances. And it's not the same with all of us, right? Some people, they can say, I slept with this person once without using a condom and I got pregnant.
Yes,
it was not my intention.
Yes, yeah.
And some can say, yeah, but we've been doing it for a year.
And still not.
And still nothing. Because then you haven't reached your threshold. I'll make an example in business. The Japanese say, you have so many no's before you get to a yes. So when you approach customers and you pitch your idea, you can pitch it, you have to pitch it to 10 people before you get the yes. So you shouldn't be discouraged by every no, because those no's are your way to the yes. I don't know if you're following me and how I want to link this to this thing I'm saying about the threshold. That some people are just that much unlucky. Some people will call it that and say there is a child that grew up in a home where no one drinks, no one smokes, people are churchgoers, everyone sleeps on time. This is a very disciplined household. And this child, on that one night, was influenced by friends, left, went to a tavern, and died. Just that one time, right? And for me, I think it goes to, the risk appetite of these kids, where you're saying, I don't want to risk this thing because I don't know how many times I'm allowed to do this wrong thing. So it's wrong and I don't want to do it, and I don't want to risk because there is the possibility that I could do it just once. I know that Ubanbani has been smoking for 2 years. I know that Ubanbani has been drinking and nothing has happened.
Yes.
But asifani. So for me, the minute I start smoking, I'm going to get in trouble in school. I'm going to get in trouble with my parents. The minute I start drinking, I might go to a tavern somewhere, and this sort of thing could happen to me. So I think abantu must not, they must always be aware of that extreme consequence, because everyone thinks, there's just so many people that do it. And it's fine.
We're the same age, so why not? And we've been doing it, so now I'll be fine, basically.
Yeah. But there are those extremes that where you could take alcohol and you could end up with liver failure quite quickly than omnye umntu. Yebo.
So basically, Lwanda, what are you saying is the fact that I'm the same age as someone else and probably born around maybe the same time, we have quite a lot of things in common.
Sure.
Our thresholds are still different.
Yes.
So it's not about age. We're in the same age group, we're peers, so our thresholds will be more or less the same, you know?
So people who do take substances, bayayazi le nto. Kuthiwa yokubani week, lona just one beer and out, you know, you can't take him anywhere, whatever, you know. Because our genetics are not the same, and our genetics influence our physiology, which is how well your metabolism works, how big your liver, and those kind of things. So we are different genetically, and therefore our physiology is different. And this takes us to addictive personality, where we were saying that one person could smoke dacha or take alcohol, and after that one time they just like it that much and they want to have that much more of it. Kandi, if umntu was able to just avoid it altogether until they got to a certain age. So there are certain assumptions we make as a society where we will say, yes, a 13-year-old can drive. Yes, a 14-year-old can drive, but legally, we want you to be driving when you're 18 years and older. That's when we'll give you a driving license. Right? And we'll make the assumption where we'll say, when you're 18 years and older, only then you can drink. But you do not have to. You can start drinking when you're 21. You could start drinking when you're 30, or you might not drink all of your life. Even that is allowed. So Ingaske, they gave themselves a chance to let their brains grow and mature and start in certain behaviors or activities when you know that you are fit to face the consequence. I usually put it like that.
Yes.
If we are bana once ukule, this will become a problem for your parents. Ngabo ngoku that have to take you to a hospital. Ngabo that have to take you to school. You know, you are not independent. So the consequences of this action do not then affect you. They affect someone else.
Yes.
Lo mntu uthathile took you to university. Lo mntu uthathile took you
to burden umthwalo omnye umuntu. Basically.
At that point, I think it's usually not a good idea to start using any substances.
Yeah, because financially you can't even fund it yourself. Like you just,
Correct.
I just want to ask, going back, you spoke about Uguti, and this is something that we hear. It's a common thing. Ban weak, you know, like don't give them that, give them this because they're weak. And then you hear stories. It takes us now to a part. You hear stories of people saying, "No, I have to eat like a full meal before drinking, or I have to drink this." Is there anything medically? Not all these little things or remedies people have found for themselves, but is there something medically that one could take to strengthen their system, to withhold alcohol, to withhold drugs, and all of that? Yeah.
The idea is absorption. So one of the things I learned in university was that when food is in your stomach, it's not in your body.
Okay.
When a medicine is in your stomach, it is not in your body. So I'd never conceptualized this because when we were younger, you'd swallow a marble, right? And the marble would come out the other end.
Yes, yeah.
Meaning it was never inside your body.
Yeah.
It was just in your tummy and it went through your intestines and then out. There are substances that are not absorbed. So I want to take this conversation to absorption, that is what matters. Whatever medicine you're taking, whatever substance you're taking, you know, people will say, this food contains so much protein, this food contains so much iron. Am I absorbing? How much am I absorbing? So if you take spinach, people are telling you it's high in iron, but you can only absorb 10% of the iron that's in the spinach. So it's not a good iron source. It does contain a lot of iron, but as a human being, I can't absorb it because it's a whole biochemistry and digestive system thing, right? So the idea is that there are medicines we'll say take before meals. There's medicines we'll say take after meals. Don't eat 2 hours after taking this one, or don't eat 2 hours before taking this one, because food does affect absorption with certain medicines. And this is not a way where we're saying it is strengthening your system.
Yes.
It's just going to affect the absorption. If you eat a certain kind of food,
Yes.
it makes it more difficult for certain substances to pass through that food and then into your alveoli and then into your bloodstream.
Okay. So, Lwanda, is there anything else you wish to share with us today with our drug abuse, drug awareness, actually, that we're speaking about this morning? Is there anything else before we close up?
I'd probably say that, abazali must be vigilant, kabantwana babo, their personalities, and they must be open and talk to them about these the drugs and substance abuse. And it's not always just about fear and saying, if you take this thing, you're going to die. If you take this thing,
yes,
it's just about information and making your children aware, get them resources, even if it's a video online or a book where they can read about these things. And also, make a happy environment for your child. It's one thing keeping your child at home. It's another thing being present and creating a relationship with them where you're going out, maybe to the beach or to the park or to games,
important,
and create alternatives. So I go to school and come back home and then I just sit here. And then, idle hands might lead to izinto ezingasile,
Yeah, because you're so right. It's enough maybe locking someone in, but make the time useful and fun so they don't wish to be out there in the streets in the first place. And that was Lwanda. Oh, I see. We actually have a question, Lwanda. I'm going to pop it up on our screen. Sisipo, Utu Sisipo. That means even parents, Sisipo is actually our resident social worker. Even parents have the responsibility to educate themselves on these things because abantwana bale mihla have all the information. Very true. Yes, it goes back to what Lwanda has just said as well, Sisipo, and creating that sort of comfortable environment, that fun environment to ensure mntwana akalangazeleli vele to be out there. So yes, where do people find you if they want to speak to you, if they have any questions, or bafuna ukwazi ukuthi whether this medication is too strong for them or not? Where can we find you?
I'm available on the socials at Ask Lwanda.
Okay, so you heard that, available on the socials at Ask Lwanda, and you can ask him mhlambe unombuzo about a certain medication, or you just want advice. It's at Ask Lwanda on social media. Thank you so much for that, Lwanda. We shall see you again next week.
Thank you, Lwazi.
Okay, and of course, let me head straight to the music. While we wait for our pastor to come in this morning, here goes.